Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to another exciting video here on the Manly Battleships channel. I, of course, am Mr. Panda, and this is Roxstar. Hopefully you've been watching our sketch videos because they're very funny. But for this video, we're going to be doing a bit of a review, if you will.
A bit of a review? What is a bit of a review, Panda? What is a bit? I don't understand.
This is a bit. We're going to be talking about Disenchantment Season 2, which we just recently finished, and hopefully you did too, because I'm not giving you anything but the initial spoiler warning. That's it. That's all you get. Go watch the show, come back and watch this, because we're just going to talk about the show. I'm not going to try to soft pedal anything for you. To kick things off, though, we're going to do this right. You'll notice that we tend to drink things or eat things during reviews, so this time around, we decided to go with the appropriately themed alcohol.
Beer!
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 And I guess I don't even remember what I got for this. I guess we got Evil Genius Trick or Treat, which is a chocolate pumpkin porter, and Death by Coconut, which is an Irish-style porter from Oscar Blues. That's right, Oscar Blues Brewery. Allegedly this is tasty. I don't know.
Allegedly. Oh, I'm dying to taste it now.
It is not a twist-off, I lied. It's fine, the foam is part of the porter experience, so here we go. We'll kick it off with, let's see here, the chocolate pumpkin porter, and I will try the Death by Coconut Stout. All right, bottoms up.
No, this was actually much better than I expected. I mean, it's just beer. It's not awful. I don't, it's very, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not a beer connoisseur. Holy shit. When they say Death by Coconut, I'm just smelling it. It just smells like pure coconut in this.
I mean, it is called Death by Coconut.
This is the beer version of an Almond Joy. I think I'm going to finish the Death by Coconut.
On with Disenchantment while you finish your Almond Joy liquid format.
I'm a fan of Almond Joy, so this is definitely my favorite beer now.
So we start off Season 2 exactly where we left off. Dreamland is made of stone, and Bean is running off to the middle of freaking nowhere, a.k.a. Morocco.
No, Maru, which you should have remembered from Season 1 as the...
Pyramid Casablanca, where she gets to meet her aunt and uncle, Becky, or whatever, Aunt Becky, and someone you find out later is also her uncle, which we won't... No, the guy who has no brain. The guy from Planet of the Apes. Jerry! It's not ableist at all.
You find out that basically her mom only had her for a prophecy. Go figure, we already knew she was evil. But Jesus, they were trying to...
Heavy stuff.
No, they were trying to screw a crown on her head.
Literally.
Bean family on her mother's side is very known for murderous tendencies. We've seen a lot of that in Bean with how many people she's accidentally...
She's accidentally them. Including her daddy.
That's at the end. You're going out of order now.
No, but it's a nice little foreshadowing. Bean, you're going to kill everyone close to you.
Well, I mean, there's this nice little foreshadowing, too, when she meets her dad for the first time. And she says to him, "Does it look like I'm going to shoot you?" That all happens. She comes back, and everybody gets unstonified thanks to Levo.
And the entirety of the elven race.
Yes.
And then they end up in a ghetto for their trouble. Surprised they didn't make them go around wearing elf symbols on their arms or something. Well, just to complete the metaphor.
To be fair,
I
think they exiled themselves because it sounds like there's some prophecy that they're waiting to be fulfilled.
Just like the historical Jewry. I'm not even a specialist in European history of the medieval kind, and I can tell you that.
You keep talking about this, and all I can think of is, spoiler alert, the newest episode of South Park. So,
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, you need to stop. It's becoming too relevant.
Ice!
Where were we? Oh, yes, she comes back to her dear old Uncle Zog. The kingdom is restored to normal, as is Elfo, because Elfo's back for the entire season.
Yeah, they spent a whole episode chasing around in hell, and actually, but my favorite part of that whole scene is before Elfo gets to hell, when he's trying to, like, school God. And it just doesn't work. I love the dynamic that they wrote up for them. And then suddenly he just gets kicked out of heaven over making fun of Jerry.
Oh yeah, Jerry dies.
Which you should already know because you've watched the show.
True, why are we giving them a summary?
The play-by-play. We got a commentary on the play-by-play.
Okay, the play. So,
That is not what I said at all.
it's the alcohol talking.
You just started drinking.
And then the rest of the show kind of becomes a little episodic in nature. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that happens, like the circus comes in town and Bean
And they try to the Great Muppet Caper, the whole thing.
Because Zog is taxing the elves to death, so...
Yeah, and then they catch the plague because of Wash Day, which is ironic in its own peculiar way. Unless, of course, you've been to India, and then it makes perfect sense. It's not racist because the Amazon is beautiful and not polluted. Because all the pollution's been burned up in the fire.
Well, then we get this wonderful episode with Prince Derek, and basically his loneliness, and he befriends a one-eyed octopus, which is everything I expected out of Prince Derek, who then kidnaps him because...
He is the type who would definitely be in for the tentacles, let me tell you.
Who then gets kidnapped by the one-eyed octopus.
The one-eyed beast?
You know, I didn't think about that until just now. Thank you very much. Because he thinks Elfo killed him and imprisoned him. Good job, Elfo. You ruined the day again. Then Elfo and Lucy become the odd couple in their own apartment. The season was really random. And then we finally get more plot near the end of it, where, again, Bean actually finds this steampunk place that is filled with technology and...
Yeah, the steampunk episode was weird.
It felt very out of place. And
I guess it was just set up to facilitate the ultimate climax of this particular season.
Where she uses a gun to accidentally
Her dad.
father. And they have a trial, and they try to burn her at the stake as a witch.
And the cliffhanger ending is, oh, look, Mom's back. Hi, zombie elves. Crab people.
Look like crab and taste like people. Anyways, you know, they're actually, if you look really closely...
It's literally the other way around. What are you talking about? Taste like people.
No, I said look like crab, taste like
No,
people.
it's taste like crab, talk like people.
No, it's always... It doesn't
Why
matter!
would they taste like people? This isn't the most formal review of all time, and that's primarily because, at least for me, I didn't get as much of a comedic vibe out of this one. And maybe that was kind of the point. There were definitely moments where I was like, ah, that's funny. But other times I was like, oh, okay. I guess we're drifting more into the drama aspect of this territory. Felt a little lopsided, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Really? Because I thought I got a lot of the comedy, but it felt a lot like very feminist comedy.
I guess. It felt like white people comedy.
The
like,
language
aha, that was very amusing. Next one. Aha.
The first time I watched it, I laughed greatly. I love this season. Yeah, it's a little episodic, but I think one of the reasons I really like this season is I have my own theory as to what the under message of this whole show is supposed to be.
Which is what?
It's all about a story about free will.
Okay.
Like, from the very beginning, it's a show about free will. First, it's about free will and trying to escape under the thumb of her father. You know, him constantly trying to make her into a princess, trying to marry her off, trying to make her into something that she doesn't want to be. It's not that she knows what she wants to be, but she knows she doesn't want to be what her father wants her to be. And then she thinks she's going to get some free will with her mother. And it turns out her mother only had her to fulfill this prophecy. And it's this struggle of, do I have free will, or is this prophecy going to be fulfilled no matter what I do?
I think the answer is there's no such thing as free will.
Well, I think they play with the concept back and forth, because there's this interesting moment with the God character where, like, you realize he's like laughing at Elfo, and then suddenly he just banishes him off later. And then at the very end of that episode, Jerry's like, why does he get to be revived? And God goes, well, I work in mysterious ways. But then Jerry says something along the fact of, you don't even work at all. What's the last thing you did? So there's this interesting dynamic of, does God really know what he's doing? Or is it all just kind of, he's just acting like he knows what the plan is and things are just happening on their own accord? I mean, even Lucy and Elfo both deal with it, considering Lucy just lost his immortality and he spends the entire time really not doing much of anything. He's like,
first he's trying to run the bar.
Well, first of all, he runs that hospital for the rich elves. Then he runs the bar. Then he tries to give the king gout because he asked them to. And Elfo really doesn't do much of anything other than get desensitized to violence because Bane's constantly putting him into violent situations. And you can see him slowly starting to lose his mind.
It's weird because I feel like a lot of what I was enjoying were stuff that didn't go as where I expected it to or where I wanted it to, really. Like, it felt almost like missed opportunities. But one of my favorite episodes was the one where she writes her a play to kind of like sort out all her feelings because, you know, dealing with past trauma. Important plot point, right? And then she can't go to the theater because, yeah, historically women couldn't go to the theater. All roles were played by men. And then she ends up in this bar, which is actually a coffee shop. And then they make a crack about, oh, yeah, coffee, it's like tea, but
worse.
But worse. And I'm like, yes! Yeah, that was probably the highlight for me. I mean, I kind of enjoyed, like, the whole concept of, like, going to hell, but it didn't end up being as laugh out loud funny for me. And then it was like, oh, you know, the play episode is interesting and well written and plays at some of the more serious concepts in the undertone that you've been talking about. But also, my favorite joke was the one about coffee, which wasn't really related to anything else that happened. I mean, hell, they didn't even, like, play it up with, like, and do, like, missed opportunities. You could have had her show up during a slam poetry contest. That at least would have been topical and hilarious.
I think we also have to remember, though, that technically everyone's been announcing this as Disenchantment Season 2. It's not. It's Disenchantment Season 1 Part 2. This was written at the same time as the first part of Season 1. What we would call Season 1.
You know, I did like the queen running off to become a pirate. That was actually pretty good, too.
That one was my favorite part, and that again goes into this whole idea about free will. She mentions, your daughter feels useless because she is useless. It's this idea that women are useless in the kingdom because all they are for is to be married off in marriages of convenience for political alliances. Like she was. Like the daughter was like Bean was going to be. And therefore, she's sitting at the bottom of the ocean. It's just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to become a pirate. That was my girlhood dream. I'm going to go do it. And I really enjoyed that. Like, somebody was just like, I'm done. I'm done being useless and feeling useless. I'm going to go do something.
It's funny, too, because it's actually a direct antithesis to the fridge trope. Hey, look, I'm making observations that Roxstar will go and use in her blue hair class. Do you have a favorite part about Disenchantment? Feel free to comment below, because I'm running out of ideas for the best parts, if you know what I mean.
Really? I think there was a lot of good parts.
Okay, well, then you explain your favorite parts, because literally for me it's pirates, and then coffee shop. And those are the two highlights that really stick out to me for the whole season. A lot of the other stuff just wasn't over the top for me.
We've already discussed the pirate scene. I actually really enjoyed when she was rebelling against her mom and she got Jerry to dress up in the ridiculous costume they had for her. And it's like, Jerry! 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 I don't know why that made me laugh the first time I watched it, but it was hysterical. Especially when they didn't realize it wasn't Bean. It's like, oh my, she does cut a husky outline. It's like, how dumb are you guys? When King Zog and Queen Una finally realized that Derek has been in the tower for all that time.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
And then they go up there and he's catching seagulls and is discussing which birds are the tastiest ones.
Oh, yeah.
Totally disregarding the divorce.
Would you like to try seagull or fairy?
It was parrot or fairy.
Oh, parrot or fairy. Okay, fine.
My favorite is when Elfo gets on the stand to defend Bean and is all like, oh yeah,
We met in hell.
We met in hell. It's like, no, Elfo, what are you doing? And poor Lucy's like, objection, sire. The witness is an idiot.
I feel like Alpha started losing any relevance by the end of it.
Yes,
Elfo
he
felt
was
like
losing his mind.
Yeah, Alpha felt like a very underutilized thing by the end of the season, in my opinion.
I mean, my favorite is when they're in the middle of the heist and someone dies and Bean goes running down to see what happened. And Elfo is just like calm. Completely calm. And she's like, how can you be so calm? And he goes, this is what you've made me, Bean. This is what I am now.
Not fun. Unfun Elfo. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense for his character. You know, he did die, he went to heaven, he got recovered in hell. Plus, ever since he got back, nothing seems to really be going his way. Girl, nope. Found out his dad stole his college fund.
I mean, to be fair, they weren't going great when he met them in hell either. When he met them in hell, he already had a grudge against Bean because he ended up seeing that she saved her mother instead of him. And even when they were all brought back to Earth, he was still angry at her. And in fact, I'm pretty sure by the end of the show, he still holds this resentment against her.
Oh, more than likely, yeah.
And it's one of those that hasn't been resolved. I'm kind of hoping, the season wasn't that great, but I chalk it up to the fact that it was probably written around the same time as part 1 was, and that technically the technical season 2 will be better. Because if it's all written at the same time, they haven't had chance to get critiques in yet. Even though I still think I actually like this season better than season 1. I think they went somewhere with it.
What are our expectations going into the next potential season? Assuming it doesn't get canceled, Netflix.
I almost highly doubt that it'll get canceled. It's Matt Groening. It's not going to get canceled. I think we're going to have to expect more plot. That's definitely a critique that has been thrown out once or twice on multiple articles. And I'm pretty sure with this creator being a very seasoned creator with multiple series under his belt, that he'll take that critique to heart and actually make a series with a little bit more plot into it. You know how BoJack always has stuff in the background to stop and watch? There's a lot of stop and watch in this episode too, where there's a lot of plot happening in the background. And that's not always great for viewers who are just watching and not pausing every 5 seconds. For example, when Bean walks into the room and sees Elfo playing with Prince Derek. And then Prince Derek is like, oh no, Elfo's totally a cool guy. Look, he alphabetized my stuffed animals. If you pause on the stuffed animals, one of the trogs that are at the end of the episode is sitting in the stuffed animals. Which is really creepy, because those things are really creepy.
Is that what they're called? Trogs?
That's what the subtitles called them, so that's what I'm calling them.
Aha! We hacked it! I love that. I always like how subtitles give stuff away.
Yeah, so, there's a trog there. There's also, if you pause, I think on the third time, near the end of the episode where Bean's having trouble with that music box. If you pause on the very last time you see the music box, Queen Dagmar's eyes are actually open, which is really creepy. And apparently people have been deciphering what these secret symbols equal to actual, the alphabet. So there's apparently secret messages being written in the show that you need to decipher. But
Oh, is this like Star versus the Forces of Evil?
Well, apparently this is not a new thing. Apparently this happened in Futurama too, but I only just started watching Futurama thanks to Disenchantment, guys. I'm really old when it comes to that.
I want to see more of that ex-elf captain.
Levo.
That's right, Levo. That's what the whole purpose of his name.
Yeah, Levo. He's still there. I think that's, again, why the elves are in a self-exile.
I was expecting more out of that theater episode, and I was very disappointed. I mean, there was a kind of cute that Zog got to hear her out right there at the end, but I'm like...
Oh!
So I was expecting, I don't know, the play to mean something. I guess the point was it couldn't because she wrote it.
No, I have a theory on that too.
Oh boy, more theories. Let's go.
Bean mentions at the end of this season that she was lost when she started. She found friends, but that doesn't mean she stopped being lost. And at the end of this series, she's still lost. How can she fight and stand for anything if she still doesn't understand herself or her destiny or anything like that? She's still a lost character. She didn't even know how to express her feelings, let alone what to do once she expressed them. So I think the whole point is this flawed feminist person, you don't always know what to do once you have the knowledge of things that are going on around you.
Yeah, sometimes you have to shoot your dad.
You have to learn how to fight back. And I think...
Shoot people on purpose.
I think Bean is going to learn how to fight back. And I think that's actually a narrative that's needed. Because a lot of the times you have women who already know what to do with their power and they're just going to go out and do it. But a lot of
Let it go!
A lot of us struggle to try to figure out, well, I know that this is going on around me, but how do I stop it? You may have the knowledge, but that doesn't mean you know how to stop something from happening.
Season 2, Part 1. Bean starts by dyeing her hair blue.
It's not going to happen. I don't know why you're on about that.
All right.
That being said...
Just remember what you said when I said things about Star versus the Forces of Evil and Steven Universe and, Star Wars.
Yeah, but a character dyeing their hair blue isn't the same as...
Oh, I'm sorry. A character's evolution involving hairstyle changes? Why, that's never happened. I think Alpha will probably go off on his own again for a little bit. Self-discovery arc and all that. Lucy will probably get ignored for the first half of the next season and then come back at the end strong. That's where I think the narrative's heading.
I mean, I disagree with that because I think they're a Freudian trio, but, that's just...
That's the whole point. I think that gets undermined. You already covered this in that essay that I helped you write, remember? They are a Freudian trio because even when Bean is seeking independence, she can't escape the concept of male superiority. So I think that has to get broken down. And it will probably be because they get split again. Probably on purpose, like they all want to kind of go and self-discover themselves some more. So Bean's going to change her hairstyle, and Alpha's going to, get laid finally. And Lucy's going to, since he's given up immortality, discover what it means to truly be a demon who's lost his way. Or her way. I'm not entirely clear on whether Lucy's technically male.
It's way. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's he, but it. You can say it for gender neutral.
I mean, it is a demon, so.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I don't want our viewers to get the wrong idea of what I was trying to get at with that plot point about the Freudian trio.
It's a Freudian trio, not Freudian slip.
No,
Something slipped somewhere.
You were talking about male superiority. I don't want our viewers to get the wrong idea.
We're out of things to say. If you have some thoughts of your own about Disenchantment 2, feel free to pop them down below. There's no spoiler warning, so you can just type away. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we'll see you for Last Week in Geek on Monday. Fingers crossed. Guess we'll see you next time. Good night.